Hey everyone, this is Jim again, your host of Simple Christianity. Today we're going to be going into episode 8, where we're going to talk about what non-Christian historians wrote about Jesus. So as I give that lead in today's episode, you might be asking yourself a few questions. One, why should we take into account, why is this important to look what non-Christians said about Jesus? And the biggest point that you can gain from that is that non-Christians don't have anything to benefit from what they say about Christianity, okay, especially if it's a favorable thing. Okay, maybe it would if they're saying unfavorable things, but if they're saying something that is favorable toward Christianity and they themselves are not Christians, they have nothing to gain from that. And especially when we look at what the historians said, all the times that they lived, this is when Christianity was not popular. So it's not like they were trying to gain some type of special favor with the popular Christian movement, because it was not popular at all. In fact, at the time when all of these historians that I'm getting ready to quote, at the time that they lived, Christianity was illegal and Christians were in very strong persecution. Now that persecution waxed and waned over the next 300 years after Jesus came and left. But point is that especially at the points where we're going to quote the historians, is that it was an illegal thing to be a Christian at that point. And if you were found to be a Christian, you can either count on being, at the very least, pushed out of society, or at worst, tortured and murdered for your faith. So it's important to take into account what these people are saying, because they're going to share information that ultimately, as you'll see, is going to bolster a lot of the claims and beliefs that the early Christian church made about Jesus. Another important factor when we're talking about why would we be interested in looking at this? Maybe you are somebody who's in the camp who takes this ultra extreme view towards what early Christian writers said about Jesus in the New Testament writings, right? They're biased, they're Christians, so of course they're going to say things that would propagate that religion, or maybe put forward things that other non-Christians wouldn't believe or would have never affirmed. Okay, so if you're in that camp, then again, what these people are saying, these non-Christians are saying, are going to be extremely important, because if they say something that's completely contradictory to what Christians believe, or they never share something or affirm something that we might, as Christians, think or believe about Jesus, then that could give you pause. So we've got that, and then the other thing that helps when we look at this issue from this perspective, when we look at non-Christian historians, when we look at that, it's also kind of a built-in repudiation of people who would say that Jesus never existed. Because if Jesus never existed and he's just a fantasy made up by people who are non-Christians, by people who are Christians, then non-Christians would have nothing else to say other than, yeah, we don't know about this guy. We never knew him to exist. We don't know anyone who knew him. We didn't know anyone who heard of him. This is just kind of coming out of the blue. I think we would have heard about this at that point. So you would expect that type of testimony from non-Christians in that case. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to find that what non-Christians have to say about Jesus does a lot to be able to help bolster, like I said, the claims of the Christian faith. So let's look at our first example, Thales. So Thales wrote in 52 AD, and he referenced the solar eclipse that occurred at the crucifixion. Tacitus, who lived from 56 to 120 AD, he confirmed that Pilate had a man named Christus, or Christ, crucified, and that the Jews are at fault for everything that's going wrong in Rome. Mara bar Serapion, forgive me if I've mispronounced that word, that name, in 70 AD, which is the year that Rome burned down the last Jewish temple, he wrote that the Jews killing Jesus. He wrote about the Jews killing Jesus and how his teachings are living on as the Jewish kingdom was falling apart. Pliny the Younger lived from 61 to 113 AD, and Pliny the Younger accurately described the beliefs of Christians. He confirmed what the New Testament says about the character of Jesus, and he confirmed that Jesus truly walked out the life that people ascribed to him. Okay, so we would be thinking morally, the actions that he took, his teachings, the way that he lived his life, right? And finally, and this one is probably going to forever have an asterisk by, you have Josephus. Now, the reason I lead that with is we lead with that rather, is that Josephus has caught a lot of attention over the centuries for being a falsified testimony, which is not entirely true. Josephus, who was a Jewish historian who worked for the Roman Empire, he did write an account, and in that account, he's describing Jesus and the following there. The issue here comes is that for whatever bad reason, one Christian or a group of Christians got together and they grabbed his account and they doctored it up to make it sound a little bit more supportive of Jesus and his character and his divinity. Okay, so they kind of dialed it up, right, and then spread that around like it was his original writing. Okay. And then over the years, that is what people have been exposed to as far as the testimony or the account of Josephus, and saying, okay, well, that one can't be trusted. But it is very easy to then go back and find the originals prior to them being doctored by those Christians, and then be able to isolate what he actually said. And he did write something about Jesus. And if you take away the stuff, the extra fluff that Christians added in about Jesus, you come away with Josephus when he lived from 37 to 101 AD, and he wrote about a man named Jesus who was followed by a group of people who called themselves Christians, and that Jesus worked miracles. Okay, so you still have some basic underlying points that you can take away from that after you remove the Christian fluff that was later added. And again, there is no excuse for that. That should never have been done. And this kind of calls back to what I had mentioned in a previous episode about not trying to overstate or overbolster your claims, because all it does is ruin your credibility. Because now we have a good, credible person, an historian in the person of Josephus, which now there's a whole lot of people that, even as you're listening to this, you may be completely blocked to listening to anything I say regarding him and what he has to say about Jesus, because you at one point heard that he's not a credible source and that Christians doctored what he said, which is true. But again, you can go back to the original writing, you can take away the extra and leave and just deal with what he originally wrote. Okay, we have that. We have the ability to get back and see his original writing. And again, there's still some facts about Jesus that we're able to turn around and highlight. Okay? So what are you left with when you take in all of these different historians none of them were Christians? Okay? Some of them were Jews, as in Josephus and Mara bar Serapion. I don't know what the faiths are of Thales, Tacitus, and Pliny the Younger. I didn't look it up. Doesn't matter. The fact is they're not Christians. They have nothing to gain from being able from supporting or confirming anything that of what a Christian might believe. So what are you left with when you take in just what non-Christian historians are writing about Jesus? You get confirmation of the solar eclipse that occurred at the crucifixion. Added to that, you get confirmation of the crucifixion of Jesus. You confirm that there is a political leader named Pilate who was the ruler over that particular area, right? Bible talks a lot about Pilate in relation to the crucifixion narrative. Talks about who he crucified, Christ. Okay, so not only are we talking about the name of the person in question, but the manner of which he was killed. So that as well has been confirmed. It also references that Jews are at fault for everything that's going on that's wrong with Rome. Well, there was a lot of uprisings leading up to about 70 AD, and there was a Jewish revolt led by somebody who claimed to be another Jewish Messiah, who ultimately was not, clearly. And they were defeated militarily in battle, and shortly after that, the Jewish people were dispersed and not able to congregate as a people. Okay, so they were causing enough problems in Rome that the Roman army, or the Roman emperor, had to send in the army to be able to disperse this uprising. Okay. What else do you get? You get that Jews were killing Jesus, okay? And as you know, if you're familiar at all with the crucifixion narrative, you know that the Jewish leadership were the ones who were provoking and orchestrating the death of Jesus. So that's been confirmed as well. They talk about how his teachings are living on even as the Jewish kingdom is falling away and it is being dispersed, right? Well, obviously, even to today, you can see the proof of that. Christianity being the dominant religion of the world, Jesus' teachings have clearly lived on past what was the long, I almost said extinction, but obviously it's not, since we have the state of Israel now back in the Middle East. But up until recent history, there was no Jewish state. Okay, the Jewish kingdom literally was destroyed for most of the last 2,000 years. What else do you get? You get that an accurate description of the beliefs of Christians. Okay, this person here, in this case Pliny the Younger, he's not affirming any of the beliefs and saying that they were correct or not, but he's accurately describing them. So their beliefs have not changed. So that's important. The character of Jesus, okay, again, another crucial aspect to what Christians believe. So if the character of Jesus is being changed over time, that's an issue. But he accurately describes the character of Jesus, and he lived from 61 to 113 AD. So you're within 30 to 80 years after the death of Jesus, and somebody is still being able to accurately describe the beliefs of Christians both prior to his life and obviously long after coming into today. He also confirmed that Jesus truly did walk out the life that people ascribed to him. Okay, again, that he spoke, and he was important to many people. He had a following. He was a teacher. Right? There's a lot of things that you could wrap up into that. And then Josephus, you take in his account, he talks about a group of people who followed Jesus, who called themselves Christians, and that Jesus worked miracles. Okay, now, and just to qualify that. That doesn't mean necessarily that miracles were thought to be this extremely rare thing. Back in the day, it was quite common for somebody to be ascribed miracles, whether they did or did not happen. Obviously, as a Christian, the Christians will say, well, yes, we believe that. I would say for the most part, it's not necessarily important that anyone believes that he worked a lot of the miracles. And when you get down into some Christian doctrine and how closely you believe to what Christians believe, there's going to be some discussions there, and perhaps we'll do a further episode on that. But you have all of these different points here that are in favor of what Christians believe. They confirm much of what the Christian faith believes. Now, you won't see much about the divinity of Christ. Okay, you won't see much about his virgin birth, sure enough, but you see a whole heck of a lot of other points, key facets of what Christians believe about Jesus, enough to at least say that, yeah, he existed, and that there's enough of what the Christian narrative is from the Gospels to confirm, based on what non-Christians say, to say that, wow, okay, I guess what the Gospels are saying is at least mostly reliable. So, does this video get from non-believer to dedicated Christ follower in a few short minutes? Maybe not. But Jesus never existed? Well, non-Christians who disagree. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, share this with people that you think might be interested in it, whether they're going to agree with it or not. Would love for you to share it so that way we can get some input and you can get engaged in discussion. And at the very least, like I said, when people of two different opposing views talk about a subject, the worst that can happen is they walk away sharper for the experience. Have a great day, everyone. God bless.